socialist and communist countries, and you understand how that can destroy people's lives and families and their futures. And so, I mean, the experience that we have, that should be the criteria. And then, and you could throw in a few other ones as well, because technology is changing every job, every company, and every industry. And it needs to change government. And part of how we've been able to cut costs and state government in North Dakota is we brought North Dakota from the 1980s, forward. I mean, when I got in there, I was shocked to find out. Someone told me that they had an issue because they had faxed something to the state of North Dakota and there's some issue. And I said, we have fax machines? This is in 2017. I said, what are we doing? And I went to the IT guy that I just had hired. I said, can you figure out how many fax lines are coming to the state? There was 157 fax lines. And I bet you if I went to the other 49 states, they would still have fax machines. And if you got a fax machine, then you're paying a state employee to take a fax off the machine. You're paying them a pension. You're paying for their space. You're paying for their desk. You're paying for their computer. And then they do the data entry for the citizen. Okay? And, I went to our farmer legislators that had been underfunding IT for decades. And I said, you guys all say you need to shop local. Yep. How many of you have an Amazon Prime account that live 90 miles away from town and have UPS bring everything to your farmyard? All of them. Everybody ships, stuff. Why? In these places like Iowa and North Dakota, when you got long distance, of course you're going to order online and have it come to you. I said, have you ever faxed anything to Amazon? No. Have you ever called them and talked to their call desk and let them do the order? No. You're doing the data entry for Amazon. Why are we doing the data entry? The people in North Dakota know how to do the data entry. Anyway, so we've eliminated so much stuff in our state. If we said the customers, the taxpayers are the customers, we're going to treat them like the customers they are. We're going to give them the service. Instead of saying, oh, we need a bigger room at DMV, and we need to hire more people behind the tellers so they don't have the wait lines. I'm going to add this thing where you take a number so people get served in order. I'm like, why do we have a waiting room? Why do we have people driving here? Why do we have people why are we only open during the hours when they're working and they've got to take time off to come here to do a renewal or something? Why aren't we doing all that online? Let them do it in the evening or the weekend. We should be working when they're not, as opposed to us working less hours than they are. So, we've been able to take all this cost out a variety of different ways, and part of it's just making sure that we focus on innovation, not regulation. That's what we do in North Dakota. So anyway, I wanted to say, when we announced on June 7th, the other reason people said, oh, you're not going to have anything to offer to this campaign and this whole thing because this whole election in 2024 is going to be decided around issues around woke. And I said, woke is what we did in Arthur to start the day. That's what we got up and go to work. That wasn't like the thing. It's going to be economy, energy, and national security. And what are we talking about right now? Those three things. Because that's what's driving this world forward. That's what we need to talk about. That's what the actual job of the president is. Some of these other issues are very important, cultural issues. They got to be handled at the school board level or at the home with the parents. Not the president of the United States' job, to weigh in on, who's at a pregame show for an LA Dodgers event. No, it's like not when we got an open border, not when we got all the problems we have. So I understand as a CEO, and to be clear right away, I'm not a politician. I was not even that interested in politics. I'm interested in running stuff and solving problems, and that's all I've ever done. Attract the team, attract the resources you need, go solve the problem. In North Dakota, when we jumped in, I went to Catherine and I said, hey, I'm thinking about running for governor. And she's like, what? Why would you do that? And I'm like, well, hey, for the same reason, competition is good. We jumped into a race in January. The primary was in June. We were down 59 points in the poll against someone who had 100% name recognition, was a sitting attorney general for 15 years, and had been in the legislature for 24 years before that. People said, don't run, you can't win. I mean, all the things they say to me now, all the things they said when they said you can't build a global software company in North Dakota, you'll never be able to do it. I mean, I heard it over and over and over. Now we're hearing it now, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. It's like, all of you that are from the Midwest, you know what small town work ethic is about. You know what common sense is all about. You know how working, helping your neighbors instead of fighting your neighbors. You know what that's all about. And that's what it takes to get our country going. So we jumped in the thing. We won that primary by 20. We won the general election in fall of 16 by 40 points. Okay, and then that was a good year for outsiders. 2020, some of the people that ran as outsiders didn't make it back in 2020. We ran as an outsider in 2020. again, and we won by 40 points again, because when there's a blizzard in North Dakota, guess what? We plow the roads for the Republicans, the Independents, and the Democrats. We plow them for everybody. It's not like, oh, we're just throwing bombs at each other. The executive branch has to work for every citizen. We got to make it work. So anyway, I'm going to stop there, but I just would say again, grateful to have all of you be here today, and would love to take your questions on any of the topics that you have, particularly around economy, energy, and national security. We'd love to talk about that. But first of all, I want to say give yourselves a hand, because you're here engaging in a super important process to help guide our country forward. This right here in this room right now, you can make a difference in terms of who's going forward. So you're making a difference. Give yourselves a round of applause. Sure, I think you had your hand up first, and if you can just shout out your first name and where you're from, and that'll be
My name is John, and I'm from Norwalk. And just wanted to say congratulations to you as a member from the line of the Burgums. I'm very proud of what you've done. But my question is, what was...
I've got my nephew here, and it's his first day on the CAM train, and he's not a plant. Okay, so everybody say hi to James Burgum over here. But thank you. You made my day right there.
Yeah. My question is, with seeing what D.C. and the media has done to Republicans over the last 8, 10, and even further back than that, what was the one thing that really pushed you over the line and said, I want to be, or I need to be president?
Well, it's a combination of the things that I said earlier, but it has to do with an understanding of what the executive role is, of actually what the job of president is. I think that somehow the media has gotten this idea, and maybe it started back with Obama, that the president is a celebrity. And if you're not a celebrity, and if you're not like center of your own reality TV show, 7 by 24, then you're not qualified to be president. When there's actual real work that you have to do, the president has to appoint 4,000 people, and you've got to be ready to do that on day one. And I voted for President Trump twice, 16 and 20, and I was excited in 16 to get elected at the same time. And then I got a front row seat of what I saw happen, which is when we didn't appoint those 4,000 people. Now we're dealing with it in this right now. We've got people that got appointed by Obama. Obama fired those 4,000 people that were part of the George W. Bush administration and replaced them. And they were there for 2 terms. They dug in. They waited for the transition to come. A lot of them never got transitioned out. Now they're in their 4th term as an unelected bureaucrat. And we have 28 rulemaking efforts coming at us in the state of North Dakota right now. 6 in U.S. Fish and Wildlife, a bunch in Bureau of Land Management, EPA is like a long list. I mean, all of these things that are happening, and this is happening because we did not execute and actually lead and run the executive branch when we had a shot at doing it. And we've got to come in now and clean house, but also be ready to go with the appointments to fill those spots, so we can start reversing all of this, most of the stuff that's creating the inflation, and it's empowering foreign dictators, destabilizing the world around economy and energy policies. It's not stuff that Congress has passed. It's all stuff that's come out of executive orders and the 3-digit agencies that are overreaching on everything they're doing. So it is, and I see that right now. So I got into this as a heart of service to make a difference for my own state, and now I see, like, wow, I've had a chance to meet all these people, and it's not like, oh, to be president you have to be this or that. No, it's like a kid from the Midwest can actually do this job and do it better, okay, because the experience and understanding we have to do that, and people have to start with that belief. I'm so tired of the national media thinking that the Midwest is a punchline, right? I mean, take a look at all these other candidates. The finalists are all from the coast. I mean, if you're not from a major media market, where are you going on this thing? So, but Iowa maybe should just stand up and go, no, we actually think that there ought to be in the finals of this contest, there ought to be somebody that actually knows and understands how this country works. So it's still out of a heart of service, but we have an opportunity to have an American century in front of us that is unbelievable, but we also have a chance to be in World War III in another year or two. I mean, there's an inflection point right here, and we're cascading 180 degrees in the wrong direction across economy, energy, and national security under the current administration. So that's the other reason they're running this, because I'm actually afraid of what will become if we don't turn the ship around and go a different direction. And I'm not a grievance candidate. I'm not a victim candidate. I'm not going to tell you about this, that, and all these other things. I'm just going to say when we get in there, we will absolutely get the job done because we know how to get it done. Sir?
Two things you've said that really piqued my interest.
And remind us all your name and your.
I'm Gary Leffler from West Des Moines, Iowa. I'm a tractor guy, that's what everybody knows.
But Gary, thanks for being here.
Thank you. My uncle was a two-star general, and he said, I asked him one time what was his recipe for success, and he says, whenever I got to command, I said, who are the farm boys? And I put those guys in charge. The second thing, in the first debate, you said this: we need to bring small town values back to Washington, D.C., and I couldn't agree with you more on that. So how do we accomplish those two things?
Well, let me start with the small town values, because I mean, anybody, and how many people here grew up in what they consider a small town? For everybody, I mean, you get what we're talking about. And I got nothing against, I have nothing against large communities, but if you want to fix our major cities, you got to do it one neighborhood at a time. You're not coming in with federal bailout money, to some city that's completely corrupt and upside down and union driven and economic sound. It's got to be done neighbor to neighbor. But in a small town, I mean, when a farmer in my hometown got sick, and I get emotional because I think of specific guys that were dads and friends of mine, get cancer. You don't need a federal program, a state program. Everybody else, all the neighbors come to say, we're going to take the crop off. While he's getting treated. We're going to do that. This is neighbors helping neighbors. That's part of what made America great. And when Catherine and I travel around the country, and we see it, there is that still happening everywhere in the best of America. There's examples of small local nonprofits having a huge impact. And I go, are you getting any state dollars? No. You getting federal dollars? No. Yeah, but we did this, we saved these lives, we fed, we did all. It's amazing. You never hear about it. You never hear about the good stuff, particularly now, because guess what, on social media, you know what gets people to click? Two things: fear and anger. Human emotion. The people that are building these social media models know that a human is more likely to respond if they're afraid of something or mad at something than if they feel good about something. So guess what? Weaponize every issue. Drive everybody to the edge, put on your shirt and start throwing bombs at each other. And what's left in the middle? The exhausted majority, the 70% of Americans that are ready to check out because the people that aren't here at this luncheon, because they've hey, I've given up on this thing. I've turned off the TV. I've just got my head down and trying to survive. And then they won't know what happened when this country drives off the cliff. You're here and you're engaged, but part of it is not every problem is a bipartisan issue. I mean, take the 300 deaths a day from overdose deaths in our country.